Heather.
Okay, well, we've got our technical issues sorted. We'll call the meeting back to order. We were on the beaver feeding program update. Committee, is there anything else regarding the beaver feeding program update that we want to talk about? Okay, seeing nothing from committee, we will move on to 3.3 community pathways invitation, iron and earth.
Yeah, it was just an email that I got sent directly to myself. I guess they're doing some engagement and they see this group as just individuals who have you know, you each represent, whether it's the environmental piece or a rec piece, and you guys do a lot of engagement. It's totally optional. They just really are looking to engage with, invite you guys to attend. I know nothing other than what was put in the package, but I wouldn't be doing my job if I didn't forward on the invitation. So that's all I have.
And the invitation got forwarded to all the
Correct. It was
members, correct?
Yep, it was in the email with the agenda.
Okay. I remember getting it, but I couldn't remember if it was through counselor through this group. Pick up all the sections. Okay, did everybody get that? Okay. Any comments or questions about it?
The iron and earth is just like I still struggle a bit about
I literally know nothing about it.
you know that
Nothing.
okay
Zero.
about like who's funding them and all of
No idea.
There's oil and gas far back.
yeah it would be I would think mostly business and industry. Yeah. Okay.
I checked out the website and stuff,
Yeah.
so you can find that out.
Yeah.
I wasn't quite clear on what they do. It seemed like just a discussion piece. I wasn't quite sure what the organization does.
And that's as far as I got with it as well, Doug. It wasn't really clear to me what exactly they're engaging on. But I feel like maybe they alluded to the fact that this was their second iteration of engagement. So I thought maybe I just missed something in the earlier communications about it, but I'm not entirely sure. You guys all have access to their website and stuff now. Take me if you're interested. It's not required.
So there's reading high level but understanding. Sorry?
There is a per diem.
Oh, the
My understanding is that they undertake public engagement for industry, and I know they're working quite a bit with Novus Earth. So yeah, anyway, that's my understanding of their role is they're undertaking public engagement and reporting on behalf of industry, one of which is Novus Earth. There may be other ones too, not sure. I'm not super familiar either. I just know all the Novus Earth presentations. Iron and Earth has been part of it.
Okay.
So yeah, at the very least, go and check it out, and then you can learn what they're about anyway.
Yeah, no doubt.
Okay, anything else for the iron and earth component? Okay, we'll move on then to 3.4 2023 maintenance plan update.
Yes. Chad did send me a bit of an email to give you guys an update on what was completed so far with respect to the maintenance plan. So the North Bridge extension complete, South Bridge extension complete, section S extension. That's the section by the small bridge that kept getting flooded. So we did that early in the summer. The section C ramp. So that was the section on the east end by Reimer Drive that was like way too steep when you were coming down off of it. So they lengthened that up. We did some tree falling out there, and then they leveled various other sections and conducted some shrub trimming. Overall, 160 feet of new boardwalk was added, 240 man hours to date, totaling just over $7,000. Material costs to date are just under $9,000, and just the stairs left, and he didn't include the reclamation area in here, I just realized. So that's his update with what's been completed. They've, like I said, they still have the stairs that they're looking to shore up. That's the update. So typically you guys will remember that like with the new committee, I wanted to give you guys this update now because just ahead of the end of the construction season for parks out there, just because your term is ending. When the new group comes in, we'll review it once more, once it's like complete, and then the group will provide input with administration as to what should be on the docket for next year.
Thanks, Heather. Are there any comments or questions on the maintenance plan?
I just have a weird comment. There is a fellow that had, I found out his name finally. Yeah, but I don't know if we can do anything about it. It's just to understand what's going on, I guess. He had been doing maintenance with Rocky and then, way back when, and then he was still doing stuff and the town said he told him to stop because he wasn't wearing PPE or whatever, but and so then he goes, he's been in the back in the Fenn trail and actually cutting shrubs like down Sedgwick, and I think he has dementia.
Yeah.
Actually, yeah, it's hard to talk to, and you don't know if what you're saying is
I
going
just
in.
want to remind you, like, this is recorded, so I want to just be careful.
Or, yeah,
Conscious of.
Yeah, I should not have mentioned the name. Yeah. Anyway, he's been brushing quite far, like away from the boardwalk, and throwing the brushes like in the Fenn and stuff. So just I guess an information thing. I don't know if there's not much to do. I'd love to redirect his activity to pulling thistles. It would be useful.
Yeah, so like we talked about Beth at the engagement session, if any of you encounter this person, you will have my cell phone number, just give me a call so I can send a parks person out there, just have a chat.
Yeah.
And then, because until we can encounter that person doing that, there's not really a whole lot we can do at this point. But comms has said, you know, we could do a comms, just reminding the public in general.
Yeah.
But whether this individual sees that or not, I don't know.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks.
If you see them, let me know.
Thanks, Beth. Doug, you have a comment?
Not on that topic. Honestly, on that topic, that sounds like the comment about having a one-on-one with the park staff is probably the most effective communication tool, right? General advisories probably would not reach. But I did walk all the maintenance sections this weekend, and I think that the crew did a really good job with them. It's a definite improvement over the last 2 years, so it's good to see that level of growth and what they're doing out there. So really looking forward to seeing what they can do for next year for the maintenance group.
Thank you for that, Doug. I'll be sure to pass that on to them. We have a small group within parks who are just super dedicated to doing that work. They love doing it. They chat with, you know, the members of the community that come through as they're doing that. And I think now with the maintenance approval that we have, they've really now nailed down how to get the work done safely for them as well as for the environment. So thank you for that feedback.
Yeah, and in particular, that section on the side of the bridge there, right? That little length of section that was in the mud and in the water, you know, that looks seamless what they did there. I think they really responded to the challenge on that one.
Absolutely.
Anyway, that's all.
Okay, thanks for that, Doug. Anyone else? Okay, I just want to pass on my kudos to everything Doug said. Everything that the staff did out there looks great, professional. And just to echo what Doug said, that section by the old bridge it's top notch.
It's my favorite section now. Yeah.
I agree. Yeah. Much more user friendly, looks great. Yeah. Couldn't be more positive. Okay, if there's nothing else regarding the 2023 maintenance plan, we will move on to our one and only action item for the evening. 4.1, approve Maxwell Lake Beaver Boardwalk wayfinding plan.
I'll just share it here so that everybody on the screen can see. So a while ago, I had come to you guys and asked, did you guys want to participate in creating the wayfinding, or did you guys want me to just tackle it and bring it back? So the challenges that I ran into with this is all of these green trails that are kind of on the periphery is where do we start and stop, right? Especially with the bike park here, because a lot of time we see people traveling in and out, and I wanted to make sure that there was signage indicating that, you know, you're kind of leaving the bike park area, and now you're entering the Maxwell Lake area. So these, and I'll zoom in here. I'm gonna move Doug's space over here. Okay, so, okay, so the little square with the dot in it that you see, anywhere that you see that on this map will be very similar to the entrance sign when you go to Sutherland, and there's a bunch of information at that kiosk. So it's important throughout the Maxwell Lake area to have moments where people will encounter a map of the entire thing. So they would see something like the map we have here. And I'll just zoom back out. And then each of these blue dots, right, are their mile markers. So the blue dots are the things that tell them, you know, if you're completing the blue loop here, right? Let's say you decide for the afternoon, you want to do this blue loop. It will tell you at each point how far along you have left to complete your loop, right? So it'll say 3 kilometers that way to the next marker. 2 kilometers that way to the next marker. At each of the square dotted signs, it'll tell you what the total kilometers is for each one. And then we have what are called boardwalk connectors. So this piece here, for example, okay, will connect you back to the boardwalk, a different piece of the boardwalk. So let's say I decide I'm doing the pink loop. This sign here will indicate to the walker that this is a connection trail or boardwalk piece, right? In here, we have some trails. Here they would see like the big sign so that they can decide which way they want to go, but also be indicated that if you don't want to walk all the way around, you can just hop back on here and it'll take you back over. So I did decide, how do I put this over without, nope. Well, let me slide. So here, okay, this is where I was getting kind of, well, how far do I go? These two will be temporary signs. Because the scope of this at this point is just wayfinding for the Maxwell Lake area, these will be temporary signs letting people know that if you continue in this direction, your wayfinding essentially stops. That's something that Parks is working on completing for all of our parks and trails, is getting that connectivity across the municipality. This is one of our busiest areas, so it made sense for us to essentially test it out here, get it going from here, and then be directed to, like, let's say this one, all of a sudden you can end up at Lions if you follow this one here, right? So these ones will be temporary, that will be replaced as we build out our overall town wayfinding sign. And same with kind of these dots here. Oops, this is where I kind of decided that's far enough out for now. So potentially we had the red dots are potentially just temporary signage, letting them know like this way to the boardwalk, and it's, you know, this many kilometers, or head over to this trail and it's that many kilometers. Mindy did not have time to get me the kilometers for this meeting, but she can pull that data easily. And then it's just out to get the sign made up. So I tried to kind of think about the experience of the user, right? Potential various different users. Potentially there's somebody who wants to do like a really big long walk, so the full loop around. And then, you know, there's the experience of the lake piece, so we did that in blue. And then the yellow, that's kind of a different, like it's mostly I don't want to say muskeg, but I know that's not the right word. In around there. So it's kind of a different experience. And that's how we parceled them out for now. Questions, comments, concerns?
Just
Yeah.
before I go to the floor, this is an action item, so what are you looking for from the committee?
Right, thank you. Whether we want to approve it as is, you want or you want to give me direction to add more mile markers, have less mile markers, or approve it as is. We would start putting up the signs, and then of course we can review it. The whole idea is to really use this area to figure out what's successful before we start bleeding that out into the rest of the community within our parks and trail spaces.
Okay, great. John, and then Trevor.
I'd like to ask maybe a 2 or 3 part question. The wayfinding, the square.
Yeah.
That's gonna be a map
That's gonna be a big, yeah, the whole thing.
for the. Distance markers, is that gonna be a map?
So it's gonna be the same color as, so on the map, they will match each other. So if you're on yellow, it'll be a yellow marker with maybe like a little design on it, and it'll tell you 2 to yellow.
So no map.
Not on those ones, no.
So I think that I would like to see, I sent you an email. With 4 locations, one I think is wrong now, where I think you should have a map.
Okay,
I think that wherever a possibility of someone coming or going into the system, there should be a map. Mm. So if I can walk up and just show, I know the guys on
Yeah.
the screen can't, but I did send an email.
recently?
Yeah, like just.
Oh, sorry, I haven't read it, okay.
Like there.
Yeah.
People are coming in. Jeez, no, I'm
Yeah. that-
here,
So right
here where people,
for Doug and Bill, Heather's mouse is
oh yeah,
her
thanks.
icon
Yeah,
where
good.
there's I think
There,
Yeah,
and then here,
here, or
here,
right there,
yeah,
okay,
here.
Okay.
And then this one, I think it just doesn't work because some could come down here
That's a bad.
and then come in.
So
Yeah.
maybe put it. Or maybe we need to
But-
have 2
Or
there,
maybe you need to have 2,
yeah,
Yeah.
but I really think that, you know, the whole purpose of wayfinding.
well,
That
that's
map
what-
is key and you wanna make sure that if someone's coming or going, they see a map.
yeah, and that's what we tried to achieve, like. These ones out here, right, I was on that brainwave with you, Jan.
Yeah.
But no, I would agree, we need to have one
And-
somewhere around, I don't wonder if that's too high up though. What?
Yeah.
And then
No,
I disagree that these would be temporary.
Because with them squared like that. That means under our new signage standard that they are, these square ones would be like a big kiosk, so we're not. I'm not sure yet if these green trails, if we wanna, like, I don't know how far we're gonna consider that to be kind of Maxwell Lake before you're into the next set. So I'm not prepared to invest infrastructure there at this point until we figure the rest of that out. That's the only reason I'm doing temporary, because I can't envision where it starts and stops as we move away from Maxwell Lake yet.
So my main point is again, wherever someone can leave or come into the system.
Did you have a motion that you wanted to put forward then?
Sure, I would like to make a motion that we revise your plan to put a map at every location where someone can come into or leave the boardwalk system.
So, okay, or would it be easy, I'm just wondering, like, price wise, if our wayfinding signs all had, because some of them will be pretty small placards. But I guess what you're saying is it doesn't need to be a big,
No,
Thing, it
you
just
don't
needs
need
to have a
those
map.
things that are out there right now,
Yeah.
which are nice, but
Mhm.
they're overkill.
yeah,
I've never had an issue with those little tiny, you used you had the imagery.
Mhm.
That worked.
okay,
Yeah.
So do you wanna make that your motion then to add an imagery map to all
No,
wayfinding
doesn't need to be
signs?
imagery, just a map.
Okay.
I don't wanna say which kind of map they make. Well, I know,
Okay, but add a map to all
Yeah.
wayfinding signage.
but and also to have one at each point where, which I think we're missing a few points.
mhm.
So what have you got for a motion there, Trevor? Just make sure that I captured.
Motion to add wayfinding map signage at all locations where people may enter or exit the boardwalk.
Yes, and you could see email sent for idea of missing spots. Or that can be a note that you take.
Well, I'll have your email now. And I'll,
See that one that I put on the far east, that was a mistake. Because then I realized you had it at but I still think that that's in the wrong location,
or when there needs to be 2.
or there needs to be 2.
Okay, so just for the group, I have Trevor and Beth and Doug in the main queue, but we do have a motion. So we have to deal with the motion before we go to the other people in queue. So I'll open the floor to discussion, but just try and keep the discussion, comments, questions to the motion that we're considering right now. So are there any comments or questions or discussion regarding the motion that's before us? Yeah, and then Trevor,
Yeah, like, I think that's a good idea, like, as for people. So you don't just all of a sudden find yourself there and not really know what you're at. Yeah, but again, like, the specifics, like. I would have some more questions, but that's fine, like the actual idea of making sure that the entrance and exit points are covered, like, will people still come from the maximum apartment parking lot down to the Beaver feeding station? Is that still going to be, everybody walks there now? Is that an access point?
And
Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
that's,
but you didn't, but
oh, you're right, yeah.
yeah, you did.
Well, I did, I put it right down at the beginning of the bridge.
the challenge is though people, and the thing is that access point is technically not town owned. And people are not supposed to access through there, however, we haven't found a good way of preventing them, right? Like this.
Yeah, but that blue dot, the blue marker at the intersection of the blue and the pink.
Here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that town?
This is, but I
Yeah.
could move this up to here, right? But the thing is people aren't technically supposed to be accessing through here.
Yeah, so
And if I put a
Okay,
big
but
thing
I
there,
was just saying, if you put it at the marker, then.
here.
yeah, that would be.
You
fine.
can't get, you have to go through that marker to get,
Mhm.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
and I didn't realize I was illegal, I'm breaking the law every day, I guess. They didn't say that on the record.
No, yeah,
Screen record.
yeah. We didn't share that.
Last meeting.
all right, pertaining to the motion, I have Trevor and then Doug.
I would agree with adding some further wayfinding signages. I just wanted to point out there are a couple of good natural gathering places already that may be beneficial, like one being at the main bridge. We've got that nice little lower area, which I think was originally planned for signage or whatnot. I'm not saying I want something blocking the view, maybe
No.
something like the sign at the end, kind of lower down and at the angle, that'd be nice. The other area was at the Cougar sign along the Blue Trail. I think there already is a Happy
Over here.
Creek Trail sign.
There's a mountain bike trail system right there.
Yeah,
Just an option. Yes, it's kind of a nice gathering area, but other than that, I would agree. I think we need a few more wayfinding signs.
so more of the little blue ones or more of the big whole map?
At the two locations that I identified, I would say the larger map.
Okay.
Just be in general gathering places.
Let's see if I can add, edit this and add shapes, hang on just a second.
Yeah, that's.
Okay. And I have Doug and Bill.
I'm agreeing with the motion there from Jan as well as what Trevor's saying as well. What I almost always see on hiking trails is 2 or 3 big signs that have, a map with distance. And then there'll be dozens of little signs that are basically just a little 8x8 or 12x12 printout with a screw in it that says you are here, basically. It doesn't even need to say you are here, it just needs a screw, right? So I definitely am supporting Jan's motion, but I think we should actually go a step further. I think we should have like simple signs with a screw in them or something to say you are here, and we should have them all over the place. And if they need to be made cheaply so that we can do that, that's what I think we should do. Heather, I really appreciate the color coordinated approach. I think that's neat, but I do think what I generally see on hiking trails is a map with a directional reference on them. So how about this? What I'm trying to go with this one is, Jan, would you accept a friendly amendment to your motion that we would say that wayfinding signs, which could be simple, are at all entrances to the boardwalk as well as all junctions at the boardwalk as well? I kind of want to see something simple with a you are here at basically every point where someone can turn off and go somewhere else.
Okay, thanks, Doug. John, are you okay with that?
When I first brought this up years ago, I wanted one at every junction. And when I didn't see it today, I was like, whatever, I'm not gonna die on that hill, but yeah, I will surely add that to the motion. And I totally, when I say a map. I meant pretty much what you're saying, Doug, but of course the you are here, because the map that you mentioned near the Cougars, I actually wrote into admin saying that the map doesn't have a you are here.
Mhm.
So it kind of makes it hard to figure out. So yes,
Yeah, you go check out every trail from, Canmore to Kananaskis to Jasper to Alaska. And I mean, the standard is pretty common. Folks just do a little tiny map with a screw in it. It's all over the place, right? It's simple because it works.
So I guess I'm just not seeing like on the boardwalk itself, excluding these exterior green trails. I don't see missed junctions.
but you're saying it's just a mile marker.
Right, so that's what I'm asking, is that each of these blue dots now would say if, would say like be a smaller version of the whole map, and you are on this dot.
Yeah.
Okay, but not to add more not to add more dots, because I think I got
No,
them all.
No,
Okay,
at every junction which you marked,
it's just a smaller
Have
version of what's
smaller-
on the big sign.
yeah,
yeah.
Okay, easy.
similar to what you had in the past.
It was like that before, yeah. And it doesn't have to be big or unsightly or anything.
Okay, we do have a queue, so if you wanna speak. just open up these. Bill and then Jan, go ahead, Bill.
I'm also in agreement with those signage because so many people ask me, am I lost? How do we get out of here? And it's just it never ends. So the more signs, people are from out of town, they're everywhere, all over the planet, and they come here to see the Beaver Boardwalk, and they're looking for the way out because they've been wandering around forever, and they find their way out eventually. But the signs would make a big difference for them because they're not from here. We know this boardwalk. Everybody here knows this boardwalk, but they don't. So I think it's a really good idea. More signs, the better.
Hey, thanks, Bill. Jan,
No, I did
No,
handle
you're-
mine
you're
with
good.
my subject with Doug.
you're good, okay. Trevor,
Would it also be a good idea to consider adding on at the parking lot?
Yeah, I threw one up over here, but we do need one at the parking lot. Actually, it says right now, does it point with an arrow, or does it just say 2-minute walk?
2-minute walk,
Okay, we'll add something there. That one needs to be updated anyways. It
yeah.
does not meet our site
It
standards.
really does.
does that need to be added to the motion or? is that-
That one will, it needs to be replaced anyways.
All right. Okay, I have no one else in queue. Are there any other comments or questions before we call the motion to question? Yeah,
Can we just make sure that the new addition of a small marker map at every intersection is part of the Doug's amendment?
we'll get Trevor to read it back
Okay.
before we call the question.
We just got our other 10-minute warning, just so you know.
Oh, well, this is great.
I'll talk to Gary, don't worry.
Oh,
So I've got the motion, Jan, to add wayfinding map signage at all locations where people may enter or exit the boardwalk. With Doug's friendly amendment to also include signs at all junctions as well.
That's clear. You have a clear understanding the signs include maps.
Yes.
And you are here dot,
Yes.
preferably one you can't peel off and stick somewhere
Yeah.
else.
Yeah, no, it'll be part of this one. Yeah, that's not fun.
I've seen that. Okay, if there's no further comments or questions on the proposed motion, we will call the question. All those in favor? And opposed? Nope, no, that's carried unanimously. Great. Okay, thanks for that, Jan. Okay, yeah, I have you in the queue, Doug. I have Trevor and then Beth and then Doug. Is it related to Jan's motion or is it?
Nope,
no?
separate. Go ahead, please.
Okay, I have you in the queue then, okay, so I have Trevor and then Beth and then Doug.
Yeah. Would it I don't suppose you have a mock-up of a sign and like, would it be beneficial to maybe brand it as? Like maybe a town sign, but just with like a Beaver Boardwalk logo in the bottom corner, just to say like you're now doing the Beaver Boardwalk.
Yeah, that's right. So we do have town design, like signage design standards and, oh, what's it called? forget the other one, but that we have to adhere to, but we did have the Beaver Boardwalk logo added to that, so that will be the branding for that area, yeah.
Perfect, thank you.
Okay, thanks, Trevor. Beth?
Just on your map, the color coding is great, but the boardwalk from like up Happy Creek and down Happy Creek are two different colors, like, to me, it's unclear if you're on a boardwalk or on a trail.
This was for the purpose of just for the map, right? That this, if you zoom in, it says Boardwalk Connector, so they know that it's Boardwalk.
Oh,
Right, but it's not, it's because if you walk along this back bit, there are a couple of trails, and I've seen people kind of look down them
yeah,
and be like, not really sure if that's safe, right? So
so,
there'll be a little marker that says Boardwalk Connector to, let's say, blue, 2 kilometers, right?
yeah,
Versus other ones that are trail connectors.
yeah, so the east side of Happy Creek, like
Mhm.
going back to the old bridge,
Is-
that will clearly be understood to be a boardwalk.
Exactly.
Okay. Yeah, cause of, like, looking at it from back here, like it.
Yeah, if you
It
zoom
looked like
in.
a trail, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but in green, like all the trails.
Oh, and I'm not even sharing. I was trying to show you, but I
Oh.
remembered it's not up there.
Yeah.
So yes, they do read that it's Boardwalk, yes.
Good, good, Beth.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Doug and then Bill.
This is maybe a very pedantic question, so I'm just kind of curious, but the way we have the color coding now, for example, the purple boundary that includes some of the sections that are currently not in service, which I think off memory is like UV, which is like to the northeast. You know, not knowing whether or not that section will be rebuilt. I don't recall what our confidence level is or where we put it in the priority, but I don't know, maybe I'm just splitting hairs here, but I was just wondering about the way we color code a section of boardwalk that is essentially unserviceable, right? Not usable at this stage.
I think honestly, these signs have to have longevity in them, and we need to use other communication tools to advise people if a section is closed. Currently, there's some barricades there, you know, people just walk around them anyways.
Yeah.
So I think what that would be is kind of like, you can do signs where you then put like a sticker over top and it will show a different color there, like a red, and it's closed, right? So you
Yeah.
can add things like that as opposed to making more versions of the sign, and that costs more.
Yeah, no, I'm good with that, or the closure is handled separately from the sign. I guess I'm just thinking about the way we color coded it. So if someone wanted to complete the loop in purple, well, they can't do it right now and may not be able to do it for quite some time. But like I said, maybe I don't have a motion coming out of this. This is maybe too hair splitting for anywhere further here.
Okay. Thank you. That's good input from Doug. Appreciate that. And Bill?
I'm curious about the tourists knowing the difference between the boardwalk, which we're the committee for, but also knowing that there's also the Happy Creek Trail. Is it going to be on the maps that there's two separate entities in this one thing, in this one map, like, so they know? Because people are just, they look at it quickly, they go, next thing you know, they don't know where the hell they are.
Yeah, so these green trails out here, and where we see the red dots is really where I stopped kind of the wayfinding map, because to me, that's when we start bleeding into other park spaces. So when these show up on the map, those pieces that make up the Maxwell Lake area will be bright, and then these green pieces and stuff, we're gonna fade them into the back so that they're not as visible. But like I said, there will be kind of temporary things out here on the the word just outskirts, there it is, on the outskirts, that let people know you're now entering a new trail system. Turn around if you want to go back to your car, kind of thing.
Okay, got that?
Okay. Jan and then Beth.
Yeah, I would move your red dots maybe closer,
Closer?
especially the one on the Happy West.
Can you share your screen?
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah. Cause.
Yeah, just.
And like I had I did this on paper and then just sort of handed it over to Mindy, and she just hasn't had time to So that literally was me just looking, being like here, right? So I don't actually know what the distance, let's say from here to here is, but I think once that gets calculated, I'd like to shrink it up to be kind of the same, right? So if we're saying this is the furthest we wanna go out, then potentially if that's, let's say, I don't know, however many meters.
I'd say just put it 20 meters from the boardwalk, like. Really, you want people to know before they get too
Too
far
far.
that they're just going in the wrong direction.
Okay, so all red dots, ooh, this one though is tricky. Because I also want them to know they're leaving,
Okay, that's a separate.
Yeah, okay.
That's separate.
So
You put
these
one at
ones-
the entrance of the, when you're leaving the bike park.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
yeah, those ones in
So
particular.
the dots, the red dots on the south side should be 20 meters, no further than 20 meters.
Yeah, I just picked.
There you go, there's your motion.
Second that emotion.
Is that a motion? You're making that
If I
motion?
need to, sure.
If you want to, go ahead.
Well,
I'm not allowed, so you have to.
do I need to? Or do you got it?
Wow.
Okay, I'd like to make,
Yeah, we
I'd
have to get consensus.
like to make a motion that what do you call it?
On here, they're red dots.
The red dots
Mhm.
symbolizing what they symbolize would be located 20 meters away from Boardwalk Trail. No more than 20, no more than 20,
Not what.
not less than 21.
Yeah, got it.
Okay, so committee, we do have a motion. In the main queue, I have Beth and Doug and Bill. But we have to deal with the motion before we go to the main queue, so if you want to speak to the motion. Let me know, and otherwise we will call the question. Okay, Bill, you want to speak to the motion?
No, I didn't know my hand was up. It's okay.
No,
I'm
that's
good to-
okay. Did you want to be did you want to be in the main queue though?
In the main queue
Yeah. Like,
or
did you have another point that's not related to the motion that you want to speak
No.
to later?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm listening. It's all good.
Okay. Okay, I will take you out of the main queue too. Doug?
So the red dots are basically just, hey, this is Happy Creek Trail System, right? That's what they mean.
That's what they, pardon?
So the red dots are, I wasn't clear on what they are. They're a marker or a sign that say you're now in the Happy Creek Trail System.
It's gonna say, it's gonna be temporary signage that says you are leaving the Maxwell Lake area, wayfinding signage terminated here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so basically the intent of the motion there, Jan, is that, for example, the two on the far right-hand side of the screen are way off in the middle of nowhere, so you want to pull them up closer to where people can see them in time.
Yeah, I wanna put them 25 meters away from when people start leaving the boardwalk. No, 20 meters, sorry.
Not more than.
Not no more less than 21.
So they don't go in and go in.
So why are they temporary signs then?
Yeah,
Sorry.